Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Joanne. I'm a law student from Australia. I hope you are doing well. This is like my third or fourth video that I've filmed today, actually. So it's very interesting. I just filmed a whole pile of videos. I've got one that after I finish this, I've got to edit and get up. So it's been a really and I've still managed to go out today and did run errands, and so yes, it's been good. I also got some very strange emails I will talk about later. I've given permission for them to be shared, so I may as well share them as well. I don't know, it's just there's just so much craziness going on, so much craziness. So I hope everything's going well for you. So we need to look at this level of crazy. Some people I know think that I'm crazy. Yeah. So you may think I'm crazy. Yeah. Anyway, all the songs about crazy. That's really where I am at the moment. Crazy, absolutely crazy. Really looking forward to the break that I've got. But I've got a lot of work to do. I've got to try and find spaces for new students, and I'm just about full. So I'm going to have to probably try and double up students. I guess it's a good problem to have when you are popular and people want to have you as a teacher, but it causes some other issues as well. So yeah, but I hope you've enjoyed the different content that's been around today, because I've tried to vary it up. I would hate to think that I would be accused of staying on one subject. But anyway, yes, that is washing in my hands. You can guess what I've been doing. And I've just videoed it. So let's have a look at some of the stuff that's been going on today, because it is very, very crazy. Let's start with the this is Kylie. This is Kylie keep on fighting. I don't know what she's fighting about. What's she saying?
Whatever. And then again, it's. Am I gonna? Does he have a song for me? It's tied in a did reach out to Miranda and everything that's going on. I just wanted to at least say goodbye to her from asking that. So did she respond? But I knew it wasn't. It's not the real Miranda.
Did Miranda ever feel that way, or do you feel like
hang on? She missed the meeting.
At the meeting that we
but
had,
she still gets. That's just thrown a. That has just destroyed their whole argument about what happens if you miss meetings. Because if she's missed a meeting and she's still, and she talked about the fact that right at the start when we first caught it, she was talking about wondering whether she was going to get a song or something, and some were dancing to lots of songs. Again, we're talking about the entertainment industry.
Like, I never got to have a conversation with anything that I went.
Hang on. So she's saying she was purposely not there. Hello, Lulu. Hello, Heather Christine. So
I do.
As I said, that throws the spanners in the work that if you miss a meeting, you're in trouble. But because Oh, is it? Audio's in and out? Oh, come on, audio. All right, let me try again. All right.
Or all of theirs, right? Maybe all of our experiences were very different. You shouldn't be throwing disrespect ever towards someone's traumatic experience. I'm hurt by this. Like,
Why? But she never mentioned it. She said all Miranda had said was that she has been bullied since, and she talked about her family being on the documentary. It had nothing to do with Carly.
it seems like you didn't even watch the documentary. The message doesn't really make sense regarding what was spoken about in the documentary. The clear message of the documentary too is not aligning with your guys' statements. So I was
You guys's. But they may have a different experience. I mean, what did she just say? She said just because they have different experiences doesn't mean you should discount anybody else's. She's discounting Miranda's because it doesn't fit her agenda.
confused. First of all, I was disappointed, and then also that like hurtness was there.
Seeing this documentary
Right.
and putting out a statement
Yeah.
and making TikTok still.
Yeah.
There's no way that she has seen that. Like, do you feel like she's even seen the documentary?
Personally, I don't think any of them would watch the full thing. I think the way that they're thinking right now too is like they wouldn't even want to watch that. They know what lane they're in and they're staying in that lane.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's very much how it seems. When you believe in something, why would you want to watch someone speaking like negative about
Mhm.
it? You know, so I don't think that they've seen it. Maybe they've seen clips. I don't know.
I mean, you open up your phone, you scroll through TikTok, you're going to see clips.
Right.
I don't think they can avoid it, but
Right.
just sitting down and not seeing this,
Right.
not seeing the victims, not
Mhm.
seeing what's actually happening or what has happened before
Right.
this new dance cult that came in
Exactly.
is absolutely mind-blowing and disgusting.
She's calling it a dance cult there, the podcaster.
Anyone with a human heart
Mhm.
would be like, I need to go. This is awful.
Yeah, and like what you just said about like not seeing what was happening before, but in the documentary, you're able to see that there were other women and other people that were involved with this group, right? Prior to us even being there. And then
Well, what's interesting is that, but the people that were there were part of the church.
in advance, we would have songs that Robert would give us and say, okay, Kylie, you're going to do this song and you're going to do it with Miranda. Aubrey's going to do 7 songs with A, B, C, D. Miranda.
So she was saying that sometimes she didn't get songs. That's the nature of the beast. So again, I just think they've got a bit of sour. I'm going to be interested to see how her life plays out now that she's got to work on her own. Although this would have given her lots of promotion. So then it's got. Want to remind you that Vic is dancing for Robert Shin here. It looks like that, and then Miranda didn't talk to her. Why would you talk to somebody that is essentially trying to destroy your livelihood? Yeah, he's literally dancing for Robert Shin. Yes, he's still loyal to Robert Shin. Stop following him while he supports the related serial essay. So she again is telling people to stop following him. She's telling people to stop following him because so and then she's still using this
song and you're going to do it with
one.
Miranda.
Anyway, so let's have a look at this. This apparently is going to be great. Oh, gee whiz, we've got a million of them. To suggest we got this off SoundCloud is idiotic. Kendall Ray, you didn't break this story, and literally you have spoken to no one from production. All SoundCloud audio has been scrubbed from the internet. with "you're lying"? Something you mean it was scrubbed in 2023 when this happened to me? Why would you tell my experiences that happened to you after the documentary came out? Just so untrue. That is so weird. This is an absolute lie, Kendall, whatever. We did not get sermons off SoundCloud, and his sermons were never on SoundCloud. They were erased to worship services in 2022. 7M and I, exposing 7M and I were listening when they deleted these audios. So is she trying to say that as they were listening, the audios would, but hang on. We did not get sermons off SoundCloud. I thought she said she was listening from SoundCloud. Oh, thank you, Lulu. My daughter is stunning. Yes, she is stunning. As I said, if you want to follow a real journalist and see what how real journalists write, you need to follow my daughter. From the other night, yes. I'm very proud of her, actually. So, didn't she say that they got them off SoundCloud before? Like, the story keeps changing and I can't keep up. Exposing 7M and I were both listening to the SoundCloud in 2022. Well, hang on. So here she says, to suggest we got this off SoundCloud is idiotic. We did not get sermons off SoundCloud. Then in the next one she says, we were both listening to SoundCloud in 2022. There were 2 worship services served from 2020. Robert's voice was not on any of the recordings. This was deleted while we listened. So did she get it off SoundCloud or did she not get it off SoundCloud? Or am I going absolutely mental because I'm not comprehending it? Because I thought it was pretty, so I'll show it to you again. She says here, to suggest we got this off SoundCloud is idiotic. You didn't break this story. It was my story first. We did not get the sermons off SoundCloud. Then she says, we were listening to these when they were deleted. And then she says on the next slide, we were both listening when it was deleted. And Robert's voice wasn't on any of the recordings.
And we are his faithful ones.
This is from SoundCloud. I have over 20 minutes saved. This is Shirley Kim, not Robert Shin. Again, how do you know?
Hallelujah. So let's just thank him right now. Feel the atmosphere. Hallelujah, God. Feel the atmosphere. Dress the room. Dress the room. Dress the atmosphere right now. Hallelujah. There's still much work to be done today. Something good.
It just sounds like a normal Pentecostal church, actually.
It could happen today. We need to engage the unseen realm. Hallelujah.
And so I've not heard anything to say who's speaking there. I don't know who's speaking.
Focus right now. Oh God.
Which means she did get it off SoundCloud.
Focus,
so what's she talking about?
Speak out.
Let's let this jam. She kind of worship asks for money to come down from heaven. But Roberta, who is not a prosperity partner, is not a prosperity partner. So, I did respond when I saw this on Twitter that she wouldn't want to have. It's a wonder she would have got really confused if she was listening to Pentecost Sunday. In our church, we sing a song called "Send the Fire." Imagine what she's gonna say. Oh no, they're singing that they want their church to burn down. Hey Vidandra, guess what I just filmed? You'll be very happy later. I just gotta edit it. But yes, you'll be very happy later.
Oh, prosperity is mine. Hallelujah. Money coming, money coming.
I think Pedro needs to go to some Pentecostal churches. This is something that they'd sing during the offering that I've been to. I don't like it. It's not my
Jehovah Jireh.
Yes, Vedandra. In fact, you're going to get two of them. The one, yeah. Well, I nearly stuffed up again, so I need to I need to focus more. Right, let's have a listen to this. Hang on, I'll go back.
Money coming. Prosperity today. Jehovah Jireh.
But she says, but Roberto is not a prosperity pastor. Again, I haven't heard his voice. I don't know what, but anyway. She's showing his house again.
Say it one more time. Prosperity is mine. Prosperity is mine. Prosperity is mine. Prosperity today is mine.
And the B's at the Bentley.
To the word, I have what I heard. Prosperity today is mine.
Don't get this wrong, but I love the way you're put because they're messy. Well, yeah, well, I am very messy. I get easily distracted and I forget what I'm doing.
Praise it out, praise it out.
You're like the one later than the Danver.
Thank you, Lord.
Okay, so then she says she's fixated on him.
Shepherd, oh, the pastor of this church, the leader of the mighty nation that you have called, Lord, that you have declared the smallest clan shall become a mighty nation, touching heaven and touching the farthest realms of this earth. Oh Lord, we thank you, Lord, for the mandate on his life.
Oh, I know what they're doing. I think it's a prayer. I think it's a prayer in song. But I don't think her interpretation is the way that it's supposed to be interpreted.
Oh, we thank you, Lord, for your increasing presence. Oh, right now, we declare it forth, Lord, even now in this room, Lord. Oh, we feel the presence growing in intensity, even.
Kate, I'm sure she sings that prosperity is mine. Prosperity is mine. I'm gonna beat Roberto. Prosperity is mine today. I'm sure she does. That sounds like, again, I'd need to hear the context, but I would say that they've finished one song. And what Pentecostals often do is they'll often sing prayers and everything. I don't think that they're worshipping Roberto as such. They're thanking God for the blessing of their leader, from what I can hear.
Now, Jesus, even now, Holy Spirit, your voice is ringing out to him more clearly than ever before. Yes, Lord, in this year of clarity.
I mean, often a lot of churches will pray that the pastor, when they do their sermons, is receptive to the Holy Spirit and they preach what God wants them to preach. And that's what I think this is. I could be wrong because I'm not Pentecostal. This is cringy in my opinion.
That he hears your voice clearer and clearer.
But again, all I've heard is that they do the prosperity gospel and they worship, which is a church. Like I haven't seen anything, I haven't heard anything that said anything to claim that there's anything wrong with that.
Clearer.
Praise the Lord, it's over. Roberto never uploaded any of his sermons to SoundCloud. All of his services are recorded by the church historian. The sermons are then shared with members privately where they can log on and listen. None of the audio of Robert speaking in the series was found online. All of the recordings were obtained legally. Many former members helped make this series, not all of them appeared on screen. Okay, so if the sermons are private, and 2, not everyone can log in, then 3, how were they obtained legally? Because, and now you're saying that they weren't uploaded to SoundCloud, even though you've talked about SoundCloud and you said you were listening to SoundCloud. Which means someone had to have given it to her. And we get back to discovery. You can't say that it's legally obtained if it was shared with members privately. Because then it means that someone has breached the privacy of the church. Does that make sense? Again, she's just putting people into trouble. She's now made it very difficult. Again, these are my opinions. Okay, my opinions. I'm very happy for you to have a different opinion and for you to tell me that I'm wrong. Please do. Maybe I haven't. Maybe my brain has short-circuited, and I'm reading this wrong. But I don't know. Nothing's making sense. Don't make me actually make new merch. You should make a T-shirt that says "We don't negotiate with cult leaders." What? Don't make me actually make. Huh? Don't make me actually make new merch. What does that mean? Somebody been on the bottle. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Nobody knows my sorrows. Flashback to James Derrick's first marriage, where he married a woman that he barely knew. This is his wedding ceremony. B Dash married Angie after their pastor told them God wanted them to get married. Now, do you think if his first marriage didn't work that he'd be really quick to jump into a second marriage? Roberto lies about everything. It says Dr. Shin does not believe, support, and encourage the prosperity doctrine and denied that Shin claimed to have a direct line of God. She's it's a song. It doesn't mean that he encouraged. What if he's really throwing the devil's advocate? What if he was away one day and there was a guest preacher on that day? So she's saying he's lying. And Roberto implies Italian, and he is Korean.
I would verbally be yelled at to the point where I was crying.
At what point did you feel like, oh,
Has she watched Dance Moms?
this
Yeah.
is a cult?
When I first got started going to the Bible study meetings and being at the dinners, I was comfortable. I wasn't going into it searching for.
Huh? I agree. Seeing a young woman use her voice in a way to help empower other victims, women should support other women. When it comes to allegations of SA, experience is so similar to many other women's, even outside the cult. This person says, "I love her strength and desire to share from experience." And women should empower women. Right. And what are you doing to Miranda? Today, I finally heard words to validate the experience I have gone through for over 2 years for simply doing my job. You are having people weaponize law enforcement, CPS, and the FBI against you. I honestly felt seen and heard for the first time. And I finally felt it like they understood what I've been dealing with and the fear I experienced just doing my job. Finally, someone is taking me seriously, she says.
And then in advance, we would have songs that give us and say, okay, Kylie, you're going to do this song and you're going to do it with Miranda. Aubrey's going to do 7 songs with ABC.
That's a management company.
Miranda's going to do 14, whatever.
How did you find this? Insane. I didn't find this photo. James Derrick's ex-wife, Angela, sent the photo to me over 2 years ago. She's raising their son without much help from James. She and their son have watched the documentary and they want James out of the cult. James' son was pretty horrified that his dad is involved in a cult like this. Isn't he just a young boy? Why would you be subjecting him to that? I would not be letting a young child watch a documentary with allegations of SA. That's just me. So.
Seeing this documentary,
right,
and putting out a statement,
yeah,
and making TikTok still,
yeah.
There's no way that she has seen that. Like, do you feel like she's even seen the documentary?
Personally, I don't think any.
So Miranda's being criticized because she's working, she's trying to work hard. Working hard for a living.
Of them would watch the full thing. I think the way that they're thinking right now too is like they wouldn't even want to watch that. They know what lane they're in and they're staying in that lane.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's very much how it seems. When you believe in something, why would you want to watch someone speaking like negative about it? You know, so I don't think that they've seen it. Maybe they've seen clips. I don't know.
I mean, you open up your phone, you scroll through TikTok, you're going to see clips.
Right.
I don't think they can avoid it, but just sitting down and not seeing this, not seeing the victims, not seeing what's actually happening or what has happened before this new dance cult that came in.
Exactly.
Is absolutely mind-blowing.
Dance, it's a dance. I don't believe the dance part is a cult myself.
And disgusting. Yep. Anyone with a human heart would be like,
that's right. Katie Joy doesn't have a human heart. Don't know what she's got. You have spoken. Is this sponsored? No, Roberto is a liar. It's no different to it. But remember, who was it that kept talking about Natasha, whatever thing? So apparently there's more. She's carrying on more about the Browns. I messaged Stanley and they confirmed they're not partnering with or sponsoring either one. So her minions are actually contacted Stanley, the company, to see whether they were being sponsored. I find that to be repulsive.
And then in advance, we would have songs that Robert would give us.
It is so hard to continually speak about your trauma. It's even harder when the abusee is still abusing, whether that be a person or organization. Kudos to Kylie Douglas and Without a Crystal Ball for not letting anyone fight that Robert Shin is still actively running a cult. Hello, Ruth. It's 5 a.m., is it?
Us and say, okay, Kylie, you're going to do this song and you're going to do it with Miranda. Aubrey's going to do 7 songs with ABCD. Miranda's going to do 14, whatever.
If your order cook was here, she'd be telling me that that's what a management company does. I think I've said that a few times now too. That's managing. That's not. Okay, here we go. It's been 17 years since I was asked 3 times in my home by a childhood acquaintance. I went to the hospital the next day and reported him to police and he was never charged. I still have nightmares about that night. Last night I had a nightmare about that night. This time I was odd, but I told everyone I deserved it. This left me terrified this morning. The self-doubt, shame, and blame victims experience never ends. It sometimes becomes our self-dialogue or infiltrates our subconscious. I know I didn't deserve to be odd. I know I didn't cause the R, and I know that I was shamed and degraded by police when I reported it. This work is deeply personal to me. I may never get justice, but I hope that I can help other women seek justice against their perpetrators. I gave up trying to fight. I had no support. I was too scared to follow up. I may have survived R, but I'm still impacted to this day. I lent my platform willingly to all victims. It's time we stop doubting victims and believe them. I shouldn't feel ashamed for a crime I never asked to have committed against me. I am the victim. We are the victims. Society treats like we are the perpetrators. I thought that was only once. The police report only refers to once. When does it become 3? Where did 3 come from? And she hasn't said that there was an investigation there either. It was investigated. So now she's making it about herself. Today I spoke to a former member today about the SoundCloud audio that Kendall Ray lied about on her podcast. They confirmed that Robert's sermons were never uploaded to SoundCloud. In fact, they said most of the older sermons are on cassette tape, which he sold to members. Newer sermons were never made public, and no one from Mile Higher Pod found Robert Shinn's sermons on SoundCloud. Thank you to the former member for reaching out and confirming what Exposing 7M Stock Culting and I already knew. But how did you get the sermon? How did the sermons come about then if they were private? What, have you just admitted to something? All this is insane. Has any actions been pursued? Any legit outlets investigating the story former? Legit outlets, like media outlets? I'd call the series a legit outlet. But what do I know? I only worked on production. Well, I don't know, is it? That's the best photo of Robin. Thank you. I know Robin Brown is a victim of the cult, but that doesn't excuse her abusing her kids and allowing Cody to abuse her kids. She's a terrible human and a mother, says Katie Joy. Again, she's now stating that there's abuse involved in the Brown house. Is this just info about the SoundCloud? That's not true. Is the rest of the story factual? Well, I wouldn't trust the word from this creator. She could have credited the people that did the work, but instead she lied about why she couldn't share any audio. The facts are she didn't have approval from Netflix to share audio. So I believe she made a story and then didn't direct anyone to the accounts that have covered this story since day one and worked on the projects. No one has more facts than us. Why would she need permission from Netflix? Does Netflix own the audio? Because I believe that the owners of the audio are the people that actually made the audio. So did you have permission from Shinn to share it to Netflix? Is my question. Because you've admitted yourself that it was private audio. But of course it was your thing first. Kendra always has her nails done. Like, it has always been non-negotiable. We've been seeing that a lot lately too. Like, if there's one thing that will always be done is her nails. And then she says, Miranda gets privileges that other women do not get. Meaning Robert is love bombing her. We know what happens to the women he love bombs. From a former member that left Robert's cult, the longer men remain in cult, they become accomplices to Robert. Many know their wives have been abused and don't care or help Robert. Robert also alleges passes off women to guys. Allegedly, that's why he's being sued for sex trafficking. Yes, to most of the guys, and it was like talking to a wall. So either they already knew the whole time their wife was abused, or they're okay with it, or accomplices, which are both terrible. I'm going to look at the evidence requirements for sex trafficking in California. What's the burden? What's the standard? Because they've gone for a civil standard. So I just really want to as codified in California, anyone who deprives or violates the personal liberty of another with the intent to obtain forced labor or services, procure or sell the individual for commercial sex, exploit the individual in an obscene manner is guilty of human trafficking. Do we have that proof? The act, the mean, and the purpose. All three, I'm going to show you, I'm going to pull up the thing. All three need to be proven to be guilty of sex trafficking. And I think, again, that's the issue. There we go. This is the definition. Forced labour services include labour or services that are performed or provided by a person and are obtained or maintained through force, fraud, coercion, or equivalent conduct that would reasonably overbear the person. So that's California. And then federally, in Commercial Act, Sex Act is induced by force, fraud, coercion, or which a person induced to perform such an act is not obtained at 18 years of age. The recruitment, harbouring, transportation, provision, or obtaining of a person for labour or services through the use of force or fraud, coercion. So there's labour trafficking and domestic servitude. I wondered whether they should have gone for domestic servitude or labour trafficking, because they've only used sex trafficking. I think they should have gone for a different. I'm not sure. But you have to have, it has to acts, mean, and purpose. They're the three elements in what needs to be proven. So this is the actual act. It's also called false imprisonment as well. It's 5, 8, or 12 years and a fine of no more than $5,000, 15 years to life, and a fine. Hello, Hanks, Texas. So coercion means a scheme, plan, pattern intended to cause the person to believe that failure to perform an act would result in serious harm. They've got here, commercial sex act means sexual conduct on account of which anything of value is into the person. So they've given you forced labour services that are performed or provided by a person obtained or maintained through force or duress. The total circumstance, including the age of the victim, the relationship between the victim and the trafficker or agents of the trafficker, and any handicap or disability of the victim shall be factors in considering in determining the presence of deprivation or violation of the personal liberty of another, duress and coercion as described in this section. So it's not whatever it is because you know someone has said it is. It is actually a little bit more complicated than that. So yeah. So here is what you have to prove. So remember, there's been no criminal charges as yet. And as I said, I think because the civil burden is lighter, they'd have a better prospect of success. So for example, human trafficking in California can be as simply as having a pimp, for example. I I'm just looking to see what they've got to prove. Pimping and pandering laws. There's separate laws for that. So to be convicted of PC 362, which is 236, human trafficking. Wait on. Or false imprisonment. To be convicted of human trafficking, the prosecutor has been able to prove beyond reasonable doubt you actually deprived the victim of their personal liberty. We might be able to make a reasonable argument that the alleged victim was a willing participant and there was no deprivation of their freedom. Pimping doesn't always mean the prostitute had their freedom violated. They may have made a choice on their own. In some cases, we might be able to get through a lesser offence. In specific circumstances, we might be able to make the argument that you are a victim of false allegations. So this is what this law firm is saying. But so you have to have deprived them of their liberty. So I don't know how that works or what the benchmark is. I'd have to do a little bit more research into that, of course. All right, so let's go back to this. So anyway, what's really interesting, I hope that was helpful for you. You know, there's all these words that are being thrown out, you know, all these allegations. So she's saying also alleges passes off women to the guys. Allegedly, that's why he's being sued for sex trafficking. But again, you have to show that there was a deprivation, and you have to prove that it was against their will. So how do you do that? Is Coco Shuffles part of 7M? I see her posting with and on behalf of Miranda, and of course she's put yes.
Oh yeah.
And you, Miranda, James looks healthy and happy. They have said so, and they're living in a nice place. If that's human trafficking or a cult, sign me up. Well, I mean, look, if I was the victim saying it was consensual, but due to yes, but that's where it gets grey plan to create, because at the end of the day, it was consensual. But how do you prove that you were coerced? So coercion includes a scare. Let's have a look at you think that's the avenue they're taking, coercion? So coercion includes a scheme, a planned pattern intended to cause a person to believe that failure to perform an act would result in serious harm or to physical restraint, against any person, the abuse threatened abuse of the legal process, debt, bondage, or providing, facilitating the possession of a controlled substance with the intent to impair the person's judgment. So this is the penal code. And again, it could be a human trafficking violation. Consent by a victim of human trafficking who is a minor at the time of the commission of the offence is not a defence. So that's what they define coercion as. I guess it's the victims in the documentary. It's but see, again, it says that they will take into the circumstances of the age of the victim, the relationship between the victim and the alleged trafficker, any handicap or disability shall be factors considering whether there was any duress, any coercion. So because that is in the California law. That is in the California lawsuit, I believe. So but don't forget, you can't believe, you've missed all the fun short order cook. No. Kylie was saying about how her description of a cult was that they would be told how many dances they'd be doing every week. And I did say if Short Order was here, she'd probably tell us that that's the entertainment industry. And we're just looking at coercion because we Plan to Create pointed out that they're saying that although it was consensual, that they were coerced. And one of the elements of human trafficking is that you have to prove coercion. Dance until you drop, go home, come back next day. See? Oh, but that's a cultural order. And don't forget, but it's not fair that this person got more dances than I did. They got all the dances and I didn't. Right? That's the biz, right? I thought from what she was describing, I would have said he was managing. Everything is coercion. We are coerced to work for money. Oh, yes. Yes, if you need to, you've got to pay your bills, right? So you've got to work. It's like the carrot, what is it called? The rabbit and the carrot. If you do work, you get this little bit of money. And don't forget, Kylie filed a police report because Robert Shin hip thrusted her. That's what the lawsuit said. That's been shown in Reddit or something, or someone's shown that. So, yeah. It's short in two parts, which explains the etiquette of a ballet lesson and what you can and can't do in classical training. I'll see if I can find it, and then KJ can sue. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the same. It's the same as gymnastics, you know, or any. Actually, I found an article that explained the difference between a high control group and a cult. Now, the other thing was, one of the things that Kylie also said in that little snippet was that Miranda missed the meeting. Now, they said that if they missed the meeting, that there was an issue, but that wasn't, but yet that hasn't affected Miranda. Oh yeah, so this is what I found, and I don't know how. Anyway, I was reading this today. This is are you or is someone you know involved in a high demand group or movement cult? All right. So check the characteristics that apply. The group is focused on a living leader with whom members seem to display excessively zealous, unquestioned commitment. Is the group preoccupied with bringing in new members? Is the group preoccupied with making money? Question, doubt, and dissent are discouraged or even punishment. Mind-numbing techniques such as meditation, chanting, speaking in tongues, renunciation sessions, suppress doubt. The leadership dictate, sometimes in great details, how members should think, act, and feel. For example, leaders must get permission from leaders to date, which jobs get married. Leaders may prescribe what time. And this is why I'm saying the church, I would say, you could say possibly was a cult. Although, again, I still haven't heard anything out of the mouth of Shin. What the clips again that have been played sounded like a Pentecostal church service. Elitist claiming to a special exalted status for itself, its members. The group has a polarized us versus them. The group leader is not accountable to any authorities. The group teachers are implied supposedly exalted ends justifying the means. The leadership induces guilt feelings when members to order to control them. Subservience to the group causes them to cut ties with family and friends, give up personal goals and activities. They're expected to devote an inordinate amount of time to the group, and members encouraged or required to live and socialize with other group members. Okay, so it's not a scientific method, it's just to get some thinking going. Okay. Then it says, well, how do you define a cult? So from the Cult Studies Journal, great excessive devotion and dedication to some person, employing unethical, manipulative, or coercive techniques of persuasion and control. That's what they're going to go, but it depends. Designed to advance the goals of group leader is actually detrimental to members, their families, community. If a group that you belong to has many of the following criteria, you have cause for concern in that. And then they've got Aunt Marine's a cult by definition. And so then he gets into about a high control group, that cults differ from such purely authoritarian groups as the military, some types of sects and communes, the centuries-old Roman Catholic and Greek Russian Orthodox orders. These groups, though rigid and controlling, lack a double agenda and are not manipulative or leader-centered. The differences become apparent when we examine the intensity and persuasiveness with the mind manipulating techniques and deceptions that are not to apply it. All right, I'll just grab that. Okay, what's it called? Rules. School Part 2. Okay. So it is my opinion, as I said, that the church possibly could be, but I'm not going to. But the entertainment industry is I would define as high control. Right, so here we go. Let's look at this.
Part 2 of the ballet etiquette I learned in my Russian ballet school growing up. No looking at the clock to see what time it is. No crossing your arms or putting your hands on your hips. If you're on the younger side, you wait to take your bar spot until the older kids have taken their spots. This is just classic ballet etiquette. If you don't learn this in your ballet school, you will learn it the hard way in company life. When you're at the bar and you're facing the right side, in order to go to the left side, you need to turn your body towards the bar, never turn away from the bar. Once we were on point, if we had a blister, even if it was bleeding, you were not allowed to take your point shoes off to change into soft shoes. If you had some kind of injury like tendonitis or sprained ankle or something like that, you were allowed to sit down and watch, but you had to write down corrections in your notes. These are all super normal to me and probably normal to other ballet dancers, but people seem to be a little bit shocked by them. So here is part.
So there you go.
Things that weren't allowed in my ballet school, part 2.
I'm going to share with you some of the ballet etiquette, aka rules, that I learned in my strict Russian ballet school growing up. We were absolutely never allowed to lean on the bar or put our elbows on the bar. It was always a soft touch. No yawning in ballet class, no talking. If you had a question, you raise your hand, but it had to be a question, it couldn't just be a comment. If you had to go to the restroom, you had to ask. If you needed water, you had to wait until the teacher told you it was time to go get water. Always had to be in dress code and in proper uniform. So depending on what level you were in, that determined the color of your leotard. You would wear tights underneath, the leotard on top, and that's it. Clean ballet shoes, a clean bun, nothing in your bun, no scrunchies, no ribbons, nothing like that. No dangly earrings. And at my ballet school, they actually did allow nail polish. So I was really happy about that. No nail polish for performances, though. I'm going to...
So it's like gymnastics, actually. You can only have so much of the hip bone showing on like, you know, you can only have a certain amount of the hip bone showing in your leotard. If when they're in the teams event, they have to be identical. Yeah. Very much. And what was the top 5 ballet etiquette mistakes? All right. So I'm getting back to this. I'm wondering what hair, costume, when to drink, jewelry, everything. Yes. Like she talked about, you know, the fact that she was made to cry sometimes, and I said, that one's a long one, Joe. Mate, yeah, I might watch it later. The other thing that I was saying that when Carly was saying about she was made to cry, I just went, did you ever watch Dance Mums? Again, I wouldn't say that it's great, but it would definitely. So I am still convinced that Chicano could possibly fit into the cult status. Chicano could possibly be a cult. However, again, the evidence that has been put on to Katie Joy's stuff has just shown me that it's just like a Pentecostal church. So this is another one. This talks about how to work out a high controlled church. And again, it's not calling it a cult, but they're using the BITE model, the behavior control, information control, thought control, motion control. Again, we've got And the other interesting thing that I'm finding really, really interesting is that each one of them has a different story, okay? Has a different experience. Usually, if you are in a cult, you'll have the same story. Now, I believe that they can have access to the outside world. As I said, I haven't seen enough to be able to say yes or no. Well, you're not allowed to disagree with her. There's lots of comments on her that have been deleted, that she's taken away because people have questioned her. Like someone here says, so she even says, what's your opinion on Vic is putting out their reels? Is he working job in New York? She says he's in a cult. That's my thought. What about Lauren? Nobody wants to bring her up in conversation. That's odd. She's always with Vic. She dances with Miranda. What's her place? Obviously, no one knows for sure. And then someone said she's doing an amazing job without a crystal ball. She rivals shit. Have you noticed that I don't know if you bothered to read the description. I said differences of opinions are I'm happy if people want to have a difference of opinion, because that's the way you learn. The only way you learn is if somebody looks at something differently to you. We're all not going to look at things the same way. You know those pictures where they go, do you see a donkey or a face? People see things differently, and so it's really important that you listen to their different what they think. Okay. Yeah, see, in fact, here is the shall we listen to the proper podcast? It says, apparently Robert assigned music and dancers for concert days. That's management, isn't it? I survived a cult, it's called. It's 43 minutes. Okay, let's do this. We can do this. Let's have a listen. I don't really want to minimize this, but let's have a look. I want to listen. I'm trying to have an open mind, but again, I haven't heard anything that's really weird. Like, well, don't forget, Katie was criticizing Miranda.
What point did you feel like, oh, this is a cult?
It's not the real Miranda. It's here anymore. And I don't know where she is. And then I saw allegations out. Like, if that doesn't show you how it's set up within the inside.
So it was until then she heard the allegations. Ah, interesting. So here we go.
Kylie does. So happy to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
Girl, we're going to get into it today.
Okay.
I just want to thank you first for taking the time to come chat with us on After Curfew.
Of course.
Before we get into the drama, I don't even want to say drama because that's kind of like...
It is dramatic.
It is dramatic. Yeah. But give us a little backstory. Like, walk us through who Kylie is. How did you get started in dancing?
Okay.
What got you here?
Well, I started dancing when I was 2. My mom put me in classes, and then ever since then, I never stopped dancing. So it was like, I was like born and raised into dance. And then from there in high school, that's when
then about dancing.
realized like hip hop's what I want to do. I'm going to move to LA. I had some scholarships I got. And so I had to say bye to mom. She left me out here in LA. And then from there, my dance career really started, because prior to that, it was all dance training, right? But once I moved to LA, my career got going, started working for performing arts programs. I was training like 6 hours a day, 7 hours a day in classes, just trying to be the best I could be. That way I can follow my career in the best way possible. And now I get to teach kids and also share my passion with my company that I have now.
Your 20s.
I have like a few different. Thank you.
Like, good on you, girl. Entrepreneur.
Yep. Hey,
so how did she get the money if she had no money? If that makes any sense. Where's the money come from to start up this company if she allegedly stole all the money?
We do it all. Jack of all trades.
Yeah. Yep. We're getting into it.
You saw me put the cards down.
I know.
Correct,
I saw the look in your eye.
does cost a lot. So,
like, hell no. The very beginning. What was your first?
Like, you just don't walk out and start a dance company if you have been if as you say you've lost, you didn't get any money.
Initial reaction or feelings you've had with 7M and the church?
When I first got started going to the Bible study meetings and being at the dinners, I was comfortable. I wasn't going into it searching for red flags. I had my partner with me at the time. I had dancers I looked up to that were sitting right next to me, people that I've known like Miranda. I'm still searching for myself in God, right? That was where I was for a Bible study to learn more about God and things like that. And so that excited me. And I was like, okay, I'm with my friends. We have someone who's sharing the word with us, the word of God. And then eventually is when I learned, okay, some people are getting invited. What is this? Why are some people invited and some people aren't? And that's when it didn't come off to me again as a red flag. It came off to me as which was from other people being invited, and then people like me who.
So she started off going to Bible studies. So I was comfortable until KJ told me I was being. Well, that's the impression that I'm getting. That it wasn't until she was told that she was abused or in a cult that she realized she was in a cult. That's really what I've been hearing from the dancers.
Why would there be red flags
right
in a church community?
Right.
I mean, obviously, churches can have red flags.
Right.
But moved to LA. Your boyfriend was a part of it at the time.
Right.
There were the invites. Did you ever think that's kind of?
And then you need to get a call back to go to the next, right? And then to go to the final round, you need another call back. So it keeps you hungry to get to the next level. And I kind of was looking at it in that sense while I was there. Okay, the next level is getting invited to services. And then from there, it was, okay, now I need to get invited to 2 services because there's a Sunday and a Wednesday. Looking at it from a dancer side of view, getting called back to things excites you. And for me, that was all that was in my head. Yeah. Was I want to be invited. I want to be included. What's next?
Right. It goes back to that acceptance.
Right.
You want to be accepted.
Right.
Right.
Coming fresh from Detroit. Are you from Detroit? Detroit?
Yeah.
Okay, Detroit. Yep. I was just picking a place in Michigan. I'm
psychic. My boyfriend at the time is invited.
The woman has gotten a lot of attention since the documentary. Well, yes, I'd say it has boosted her career. And as Short Order says, welcome to the entertainment industry. That's why I like Short Order's input, because she's probably the most qualified to talk about what that industry is like. Oh, by the way, I was on TV show again tonight. They replayed the episode that I was actually sitting. There's a show here called Tipping Point, and I went to the filming. I got paid for it. I was an extra, and they put me next to the contestant's daughter. And so every time they did a shot, I actually was literally behind the contestant every time they did a shot from the angle. So I got all these messages today to tell me that I was on Tipping Point again. Let me just tell you that it doesn't matter how many times they repeat it, I won't get any more pay for it. I'm thinking, I should have asked them for residuals.
Why wouldn't you want to be with your partner? Like we lived together already at the time too. So it was like, if I wasn't, in these meetings or whatever.
Oh, they live together already? That's interesting. Dancers are a dime a dozen, LA. The fact that dancers in 7M actually works tells me that they have a great management. Well, yes, that's true. That would be a good case. Yeah, so I had all these messages coming through to tell me that I was on TV again. It's like, what do you mean I'm on TV again?
You were separated, which was weird for us because we normally weren't separated a lot. Even that made me be like, oh, well, I want to be with him, so of course I want to go.
Right.
I want to be invited to the church, right? Because I see my boyfriend's invited. I see my friends are invited. And I've been looking for a church. So it's like all those things combined. We may want to join things because other people are there or our friends are there. We think it's safe already. But at the end of the day, this world's crazy. And now I've relearned and made myself re-aware that like I need to check all these things before going in and investing into a group or a place, a job, a friend, anything.
You can look at like a bad relationship where you're like, oh, I can't see the red flags. Or like, I'll paint my nails red and match those red flags. But it's like, you are just like, I'm so excited.
Right.
And sometimes like, that's such a common like thing as humans that we do.
Right.
So she got in. So again, she hasn't spoken anything about the management group. It's all about the church.
Once we feel like a little bit accepted by something, we want to go for that.
Yeah.
And we put our blinders on.
Right.
At what point did you feel like, oh, fuck, this is a cult?
Yeah. Throughout my time there was a lot that made me not feel comfortable.
I believe this was done just recently. It doesn't say when it was done, but it was uploaded 17 hours ago.
My friends are all there. My boyfriend's there. I was kind of like forcing myself to feel comfortable in an environment where I knew I wasn't going to be respected for who I am. And so I was kind of like continuing to try to fit a mold and to try to please everyone. And like once I realized that the real Kylie is not here anymore and I don't know where she is. And then I saw allegations out and I saw that other women felt certain ways that I felt. That really sparked me to realize, like, okay,
so she didn't feel like she
this is not
fitted in, and then there were allegations. So that's when she realized she must have been in a cult, right? Okay.
where I'm supposed to be. I shouldn't be feeling like this. I shouldn't be questioning like who I am. That was really in my mind, like the final thing of like, okay, this has got to stop. Like I got to stand up for myself. and no one's going to do it for me, even though I'm waiting around for my friends and my boyfriend at the time. Like, I have to do that on my own. And then hopefully, other people will be able to do the same. That was hard for me to do because I didn't know if anyone around me was going to do the same. Yeah. So it's like I could very much just leave and then everybody else stays. It was hard because I wouldn't want to be separated from them.
She just said that she could leave.
But either way, again, I needed to do what's best for me.
And you were still with your ex-boyfriend at that time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is enough reason to stay.
Right.
In a sense, that's somebody that you love, that you trust.
Right.
Not having that or not knowing that they're going to take your hand and come with you.
Right.
Did you guys have discussions?
So we had like a meeting like with a few of us dancers, and we were just sharing stories of like, things that happened that like my friend didn't know of or my boyfriend didn't know of, because things were so exclusive and like
things
secretive.
That would happen to you in private.
Church.
Things that happened like throughout our
church
stay in the church.
Again, we're talking about church.
Can you give me an example? Of something?
I would say like treatment. So for some of the dancers, right, they're included in every service, every content
she did
day.
say that she could leave,
some
and
of
the
us
pull to go back wasn't the church; it was to want to be with her, and she felt left out. Correct. Because if she and to leave a cult isn't that easy. Anyway, so now we're going to hear about the fact that she can get all the dancers, I think.
Only didn't have those things, but we're also continuously being beaten down when other dancers weren't, and verbally. Like I would verbally be yelled at to the point where I was crying, and I was just sitting there, and I had other women around me watching me get in trouble, right? For things that I didn't even know they were wrong. Like going home for Christmas. You
got yelled at for going home to your family
right
for Christmas.
But it's not even like I'm just getting yelled at and it's just me and my mentor. It's like I'm getting yelled at in a meeting where I have people around me that I was looking up to. I have people around me who are my friends who now are maybe looking at me like, oh, she's in the wrong. Like it creates this circle of uncertainty of like what people are going to think of you after now.
Is it that, or is there more to it? Remember, there's always three sides: her truth, their truth, and the truth. I could see them being angry if there are deals. I mean, I remember I worked at a gymnastics club. We could only take holidays at the end of the year because there were no competitions, for example. We were given, and that was dictated to us. The staff, you're only allowed to have this time off. You can't have any other time off because it's competition season. I mean, the Olympic podcast I'm doing at the moment, that I'm producing, some of the stuff that they talk about having to do as part of their everyday life, it's highly regulated.
That their system and circle is set up is to be like that, to like turn eyes and be like, oh, maybe she's not following her walk correctly, or this person is, and she's getting these deals because of it, and then this person's not, and that's why she's not included. Like it's very
hello, anyone else that's jumped in.
It's very set up in a way where they know what they're doing, and they want it set up that way,
right?
But I don't think people really realized that until we had our meeting, like of some of us dancers, and we were talking about how we actually felt and how these things like really made us feel. It opened eyes to people who weren't beaten down verbally and things like that, and they were having a great time being there, right? And they were getting all the deals again and having fun and whatever, dancing all the time. They were on like a high. When you're on a high like that, how I was feeling or how I was being treated, even though he's my boyfriend,
but they are seeing it if he's or whoever is reprimanding you in front of a crowd,
right?
it's one of those things where it's like the red flags. They're looking straight at it.
Right.
And they're turning the other cheek.
So the women's meetings are just the women, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not even all of them. So, some of the, women aren't invited. And sometimes you are, sometimes you aren't. It's just like the services,
Didn't Melanie's parents say that if you missed a meeting, you couldn't attend meetings? There comes a time when the work that you do involves working on big holidays, which she had been unhappy if she was going home, if she was a dancer at the Super Bowl. Correct. Again, I think I do like the interviewer, but I'm thinking that the wrong questions are being asked. So, for instance, Ballet's busiest time to dance might be near Christmas during Nutcracker season. Who knew what the... Well, that's right. So essentially she felt like she was being singled out or bullied, I guess, is so, because if she says, what was there a schedule? So the question should follow up schedule should have been, was there something scheduled that you needed to attend to? Is that why they were upset? Because, or did you book a trip without checking to see that you had no shoots or something?
And so we don't know what is going on in the men's meeting, and the men don't know what's going on in the women's meeting. So that's why a lot of the men that did leave weren't aware of how I was truly feeling, but also because they weren't seeing it. They weren't seeing it, and then again, I didn't feel comfortable sharing.
She's just said the men didn't see it, but KJ has said in her stories that all the men knew what was going on and they turned a blind eye. But Carly is now saying that they don't know what unless it's spoken about with the women. Who's telling the truth?
Because of how everything is set up, I didn't know who I could trust to share what I was truly feeling or what I was truly going through. So I would cry myself to sleep almost every single night. And I wasn't the only one doing that.
The invites and the separate meeting, it's literally like Soho House for a cult. And then the fact that you guys are not talking to each other, and it took so long for you to have that type of communication.
Everyone had instilled in who to trust, because a lot of us too, some of us, we knew each other prior to, so we already had that connection, but a lot of the women in there, I didn't know them until I joined, right? And so I don't know who they are outside of church. I just know how they present themselves in church, and I feel like I didn't really know them on a deep level. I just knew them for having the same passion for God and love for God that I did. So it's like I didn't even really know how to talk to these other women for a while. Some of the women that left, I didn't even speak with, have a conversation with until I was out. So I was there for however long, right? A few years, and
they couldn't
sitting right in front of an ex-member.
Yes, sure. It's about church, not 7M again.
And never spoke with her until I left. If that doesn't show you how it's set up within the inside, I don't know what else does. In normal churches too, right? I go to, they're like, everybody stand up, shake the hand by the person behind. Not the case here.
Far from it. Yeah.
Sit in your seat where you're supposed to be seated and pay attention. And then also for me, I'm on the edge of my seat every service.
She didn't make friends with any of the women. So I don't know.
Because I'm like, who's going to get called out today?
What do you, masses? Is that what you call them?
Yeah. Like services.
Were these services led by Robert?
Yeah.
And so he would do the reprimanding.
Yeah, he's the one, at the pulpit for however long. We were there for hours too. It was long services, 6 hours. It was hard to stay awake and make sure I'm coffees, Red Bulls, everybody has juice, everybody's we know what we have to do to prepare to be able to listen. But
and he
even then,
that whole time, I thought I was a yapper.
No,
I thought I could yap for hours.
You got nothing on him,
Robert,
girl. Yeah, no.
Nothing on Rob.
And then again, when you're worried if you're going to be getting called out about something. It makes it even longer.
Yeah.
You're sitting there like sweating, like, okay,
what's my fate?
Yeah. What's going on? Yeah.
Gosh. So there's so many
she
things.
Said she was there because her boyfriend was there. Yes, she did say that. And she didn't leave because she didn't want to leave her boyfriend behind. But she could have left. See, Melanie left. Didn't like it and left. Although that story changed as well. But if we go back to what Katie had said in her stories, let's go back to what Katie said in her stories. I'm not really interested in that. That's the sermons. Go through stuff here. Sorry, it's KJ's favourite song, Prosperity Is Mine. Where is it? It was near the end, wasn't it, where we saw about it? Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, this one. The longer, from a former member. Yes, to most of the guys, it was like talking to a wall. So it's either they already knew the whole time their wife was being abused, they're okay with it, or they were accomplices, which both is terrible. She says this is from a former member. The longer men remain in the cult, they become accomplices to many. Many know their wives are being aided but don't care. But that's, Kylie said that they didn't talk. She never spoke to her boyfriend about it. So if, for example, she didn't speak to her boyfriend about it, how did he know? So if the wives don't talk to their husbands, how do they know? But KJ has been certain that they know. So again, Dancer for wow, auditioned was practices. Wow, Mama Celeste, that's amazing.
Going back to Dancing for the Devil, the Netflix documentary.
Yeah,
there were so many things that he would have, like wake up at 4 a.m.,
right,
read the Bible. What is something that you experienced in there that was just a very, why are we doing this?
Well, going off of that,
I guess going for 5 hours of church is a little
going
mental.
for 5 hours of church, and then I guess for me it was scheduling. Like scheduling, I've always been a very independent woman. Like my mom's a single mom, you know, we grew up like hustling for everything and just making everything work on our own. And so for me, as soon as I realized like they want control of everything I'm doing, including my schedule, my time, what I have my hands on, like they want me taking my hands off of.
Management. If you've got a manager.
And that to me was really wild and scary. I was working for LAUSD, for the school district, for the performing arts programs.
Okay.
And I was told that, you know, cancel the job or whatever, leave the job you're working with, right? And you can work with 7M and you'll get just as much income. So I'm like, okay, like that sounds great, because again, I wasn't invited to all the dance videos, like the filming and the content days. So that was something I wanted already. So then I'm being told by someone I look up to, like, we can include you in that and we can give you more than you're making, you know, like.
So she had a real job at one stage. So again, she didn't have to work for them.
Basically, come on, let's go, let's do it. And I'm like excited and I'm like, okay. And so I did quit that job and I loved that job. I was there for 5 years. That again is another wild thing. It's like the things that you'll do for people you really trust. And I really trusted in my mentors, and the promise didn't even withstand. So I wasn't included after that. You know, it wasn't like okay, today's the day. Kylie made a big, you know, change and now we're gonna really be there for her and include her and everything. And that was what was promised, and then it didn't even happen. One of the few many crazy things I've been through.
Make that a whole podcast episode. So the house, it's like a hype house for you guys, essentially.
Yeah.
What was that like? Like you lived with these people.
Yeah.
Created content. I know sometimes you weren't involved in the content, but like, what was the day-to-day like? Like, did he come in and be like, hey, this is the set list, like this is what you guys are up to today?
Right.
Like,
so
how was that?
When it was a content day that we had like scheduled, and they would rent a house out, like a nice mansion, they'd make sure they have the good quality cameras ready to go. And then in advance, we would have songs that Robert would give us and say, okay, Kylie, you're going to do this song and you're going to do it with Miranda. Aubrey's going to do 7 songs with ABCD. Miranda's going to do 14, whatever. And then again, it's set up to be like every Bible study, we're like waiting for him to say, like, okay, am I going to get a song? Am I not? Does he have a song for me? Because it's tied to like coming from heaven, right? He says it in the documentary, like a sound from heaven, right? And so we look up to that. We're like, okay.
Correct, Lulu. The reason why she was bitter.
We want a song. We want another opportunity to dance to that sound. And so it's not even just like about the hype, right? But he makes it about God and about following, God in the proper way. And so both of them are intertwined together, and we're all excited about who's going to get songs, who's going to get to dance with who. And then that day of the content day, you do have a set list, who's filming where. They'll set up a few different locations, and then you go from there, which to me is like a normal set. It's that wasn't really anything crazy. But again, what I mentioned about like getting the songs, we should be able to dance with whoever we want. I should be able to do as many videos as I want. If I'm a part of your company.
This is where it's going. No, you don't get to do what you want. Wow. She wants to do what she wants. Models in Paris live together, accommodation provided by, then they go to casting calls. So this is the crux of it. This is the crux of it. I think we've just got to the point of it, haven't we? We've just hit the nail on the head. But that doesn't mean it's a cult. That doesn't make it a cult. Let's just have a listen to that again.
Crazy. But again, what I mentioned about like getting the songs, we should be able to dance with whoever we want. I should be able to do as many videos as I want. If I'm a part of your company.
If you're going to sign me up to work on your film, I should be able to work with whoever I want. I should be able to do as many scenes as I want.
And you have a content day for everyone in your company, we should all have an equal opportunity to do as many songs or dances as we please, whichever location. And that wasn't the case.
As a creative, you would want to just pick whoever, like pick the song, pick the choreo, pick the partner.
Right.
Insane. It's like the dance moms, like the pyramid.
Right.
Like, Jodo, you're on top.
Yeah. Kylie, you're on the bottom.
Yeah, Kylie, you're on the bottom.
That's the industry, isn't it?
Been the poor one always crying that gets pulled off last. Like,
they're like, what's the TikTok song? It's like, and last.
Yeah, and last we have
Kylie Douglas.
But not anymore.
No, fuck no. So as you left, as this documentary is being made, has anybody reached out to you that's still affiliated?
Well, it may be well-deserved entitlement, but then change management if you're not happy. You find another management company. So how many managements has she been under? One. I think that's the only one. And then she's gone out and started her own business. But then again, where's the money come from to start the business?
Have you reached out to anybody?
No, so no one has reached out to me. However, prior to leaving, I did reach out to Miranda and, try to get coffee with her and just chat with her, even if it wasn't about necessarily, shaming everything that's going on. I just wanted to at least say goodbye to her, and I didn't get that. I got
Next one dramatized the competitive nature of ballet. Dancing is competitive. Miranda was more dedicated. It doesn't matter if this chick is more talented. The gig will go to someone else. Correct. It's great to have people that work in the industry in it, and it's the same with musicians. If you're 1 minute late. If someone's on time and somebody else is 1 minute late, you could be the best musician. But if you were 1 minute late, you could lose that job because you're 1 minute late, even though you were the best. Where's the experience of being with another management group? How can this be compared? Well, that's a really interesting thing because she's got nothing to compare it to. She's
declined from asking that. So
did she even respond back to you, or was it like left undelivered?
Yeah, she definitely responded, but I knew it wasn't. It's not the real Miranda. You know, it's not my friend.
Right.
That's reaching out. It's like there's a wall between us, and I could just feel that, and so I just.
But doesn't Katie say Miranda doesn't read it or do her messages? But Kylie's just said that Kylie's just thrown a big hole in all of KJ's reporting, in my opinion.
Just left it at that and was like, all right, I'll be here whenever she is ready to have a conversation with me. But until then, I can just support from afar.
So you said that there were like little moments where you took a step back and you're like, this is kind of weird.
Right.
And then when you discussed it with other people and everyone was like, yeah, I'm feeling this as well. Did Miranda ever feel that way? Or do you feel like she's just like fully immersed in it?
She wasn't at the meeting that we had. I don't remember why she wasn't there. So she never got to hear, like, I never got to have a conversation with her and tell her how it was.
Again, weren't we told if they had meetings, they couldn't be part of the group? And she's just saying that Miranda wasn't there. What on earth is going on?
Feeling about about everything. So I have no clue if she really knows, you know, anything that I went through. I don't know how she's feeling. I feel like she purposely wasn't there, though. I do feel that. And that way she can continue thinking whatever she's, you know, invested in.
With the 7M management, I know they took a lot of the payment, but you got paid, you did gigs, you got clout. Like we were saying about Hollywood.
Yeah.
And coming here, having a dream, having a vision. People will, no pun intended, literally dance with the fucking devil.
Right. Yeah, I was getting followers as I was there because I was putting out dance content, but it wasn't like I went from 15,000 to 1 million and I'm skyrocketing and I'm living the dream. Like, no, I was still working really hard for what I was getting. And now on the flip side of it, with having full control over what I'm doing better than I was doing when I was there. It took time.
She's doing better because she's using the back of the documentary. She's got people following her that are sympathetic to her.
To get back on track for myself, I had to go through the process of healing. And when I did leave, I started losing followers. Like I couldn't get myself to do content right away. It was a journey that I needed to go through in order to get back on track. And so there was that time of like, okay, my Instagram's like not popping right now, but I didn't care. I was like, I need to focus on, you know, where I'm at in life and what I need to be, you know, diving deeper in. And once I did that and started healing and all of that, Instagram came back up. And it was like, okay, I think Instagram and the followers and the fans and supporters that I have on there realize,
yes,
okay.
Because she had exposure through a documentary. That's correct. That's what's done it. It'll be interesting to see what happens once it all dies down. When the hype disappears, what's going to happen?
That's our girl. Like, that's who she is. That's who we're supporting. And from there, it's been way better.
And I think it's so important to take time, like, especially going through something that was so traumatic.
Right.
And you leave it, but your head is still spinning, obviously. Yeah. So you need that time to breathe. And I'm sure you're still processing it.
Oh, sure. We're intelligent creatures, us Aussies.
What is life like now? Like, what are we up to? Are we dating?
I have a dog. And so that girl has been like my ride or die through all of this. I mean, I left a cult and I went through a breakup. What else could you go through?
I couldn't even handle a breakup a couple years ago, girl.
Yeah. I'm like, what else could you go through that like it just shook me up so much. And then my kids, the Volts, like they were just there for me, supporting me, loving me through this whole time.
Yeah.
And so it's just really cool seeing the kids succeed.
Thank you, Joy. Ballet companies make changes to programs all the time due to injuries. So it's why obviously it's so important as a dancer. You are replaceable, usually by someone you know. Correct. Yes. But she's saying now she has full control. Well, what's she going to do when she can't blame Robert Sheen for
being able to give that opportunity to these kids and then
see everything she's experienced. She's only talked a very small bit about 7M. The rest of it's been about the church. The bit that she had issues with about 7M was the fact she wasn't getting dancers. That was it. And she glossed over it, said they took a lot of money, but she was still getting paid. And she said, yes, that was never explored. Yes, she's blaming Miranda.
Take it and run with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's also healing that like inner child in me too. I just feel like the dog and my work and the circle of friends that I have, everybody's just been such a huge part in my healing and in my journey. And still to this day now I'm like, how was I not with even my friends, like the few girls that I have and the few guys that I have around me right now? I'm like, how did I not see you for like 2 years? And now we're out having drinks and it's like we never left each other's side.
Was it like a mindful thing that you weren't talking to them? Like, how was your relationship throughout being in 7M?
So some of the things that we learn and that we are like trying to take on as we're in the group is, just focusing on who's going to help you with your walk of God or walk with God, which is, mentors, leaders, who's around you in the group and not necessarily outsiders. So, when you're thinking that and you're investing in, your walk with God and you're just trying to get closer to him, you're not gonna be looking like too far away from the people that are helping you reach that, know?
Yeah.
And so I wasn't, I was still reaching out here and there, but it definitely wasn't like the normal Kylie, like, hey, let's go get drinks. Hey, let's go bowling. Hey, let's go do this. Like, unless
you wouldn't be able to do that anyway because you were working.
A pre-planned event or a family function, something like that, then we would.
A pre-planned event or a family function. She just said they could go to family functions. Have a listen.
You're just trying to get closer to him. You're not gonna be looking like too far away from the people that are helping you reach that, know?
Yeah.
And so I wasn't, I was still reaching out here and there, but it definitely wasn't like the normal Kylie, like, hey, let's go get drinks. Hey, let's go bowling. Hey, let's go do this. Like, unless there was a pre-planned event or a family function, something like that, then we would, then I would like obviously partake in as many of those as I could. I won't even say all because there was a pushback on me being around my family as well.
Did you feel that? Like you knew, like in the documentary, they would say,
die to yourself.
There we go. Die to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Were you aware of that? Like, I have to let go of my family in order to take this walk with God?
Yeah. I was definitely aware of it. And I was always scared of it. And I feel like that's why I never fully was able to do that too, because I mean, like my senses were still there, like my heartstrings were still there. Like, no, you're not letting go.
It's like
the
intuition too, and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, and so, but then it was like a mind battle. It was mind battling for me because I wanted to follow their teachings and I wanted to get closer with God and I wanted to see it in action too. Like I saw, different situations for different people and great things happening for them, and I was like connecting that to the fact that like they're doing everything they can and they're following.
Short order says because you had a boyfriend and you're a dancer with a job, that's why you didn't see your friends. No different from any ambitious 20-year-old trying to make it in LA, I guess. There's lots of stories about successful people are successful because they have to give something up. you know, you have to sacrifice something. It's not a religious thing. It's a life thing. You know, elite sports people often have to give up family time to be the best at their craft.
These teachings, right? And so it was mind battling because I want to follow what I'm being taught and I want to see the benefits of that, you know, but at the same time, I'm over here crying every night because I don't want to let go of my family, you know, and I don't want to not go to every family function or every holiday because that's what I normally do.
Yeah.
So it was hard for me to like battle that out in my mind of what I'm really supposed to be doing.
Did anyone reach out to you, like with your family or your friends, and being like, hey, babe, what's going on?
My family was actually more on like the quiet side. They never mentioned what is this and what's going on. They never asked me those questions, I think because they didn't want to push me away further. So that never was brought up to me. It was just more of like a, hey, I'm reminding you, like, here's a picture of the dog, or here's, you know, all of us together on Easter and we miss you, you're not here. Like it was constantly reminding me, like, they're my family, they're my.
That's true, Drew. There are lots of the same stories that are the same. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Why couldn't her family come to her? Well, see, that's never been addressed either. Because remember, didn't Miranda's parents just turn up at the doorstep and she didn't want to see them? And they were turned away? If I saw Kylie in the street, I wouldn't pick her out as a dancer. Miranda, totally a dancer, says Lulu. I know nothing about dance except that I can't do it. But I do know that I think Miranda looks like a good dancer. That's all I know is I like her work.
Rocks and they miss me and they love me.
Right.
You know, and because they kept reminding me that, I think that's why I was having the mind battle of like, how am I supposed to let that go? But how am I supposed to do what I'm being asked by my mentors? Again, it's just mentally draining and it's abuse, you know? No one should feel torn and things like that and have to fight myself.
You reached
Lots
out.
of dance companies have extensively expect with job, not usually labels as a detractor of being the dance performing arts are cutthroat. What did she just say? It's abuse, was it?
Out in my mind of what I'm really supposed to be doing.
Did anyone reach out to you, like with your family or your friends, and being like, hey, babe, what's going on?
My family asked by my mentors. Again, it's just mentally draining and it's abuse, you know? No one should feel torn between things like that.
It's abuse, apparently. The balance of work life, having to choose between your family and your job is abuse. Boy. Abuse, that's what she said.
Never mentioned what is this and what's going on. They never asked me those questions, I think because they didn't want to push me away further. So that never was brought up to me. It was just more of like a, hey, I'm reminding you, like, here's a picture of the dog, or here's, you know, all of us together on Easter and we miss you, you're not here. Like it was constantly reminding me, like, they're my family, they're my rocks, and they miss me and they love me.
Right.
You know, and because they kept reminding me that, I think that's why I was having the mind battle of like, how am I supposed to let that go? But how am I supposed to do what I'm being asked by my mentors? Again, it's just mentally draining and it's abuse. You know, no one should feel torn between things like that and have to fight myself.
You reached out to.
Gee, I'm glad she's not a parent. Try being a single parent and trying to battle career and kids and the sense of guilt that you have because you can't manage it all. Wow.
Miranda.
And
she made a statement recently.
Yeah.
Do you believe any of it? Is it all BS? Like, how do you feel about seeing that?
Right. Honestly, I felt disrespected. My truth is my truth and my story is my story. And we should never be downgrading what someone went through just because
her truth is her truth. Her story is her story. Why is it okay for you to downgrade her, but you want her not to downgrade you? Lots of dancers can't own pets if they travel extensively and live alone. And don't forget, a lot of those dancers wouldn't see their families either at Christmas time because they'd be traveling or holiday times. How often do these people think they family were pressured to come home? Why couldn't they come to her? This is what I've been saying about the tug of war. This would happen in any job. Only her truth, not the truth. How often do these people think that they should be with their parents in their 20s?
Because my experience may have been different than hers or all of theirs, right? Maybe all of our experiences were very different. You shouldn't be throwing disrespect ever towards someone's traumatic experience. I'm hurt by this.
You're throwing disrespect at her. You're disrespecting her.
It seems like you didn't even watch the documentary. The message doesn't really make sense regarding what was spoken about in the documentary. The clear message of the documentary too is not aligning with your guys' statements. So I was confused. First of all, I was disappointed, and then also that like hurtness was there. These are the words you're saying, and you know the truth, like somewhere in there you know it, and this is what you're saying, and like it just seems like a big game. And from being in there, I know how that game works.
She hasn't given me anything to tell me that it's a cult, to be honest. She hasn't told me anything other than the fact she didn't get her way. I'm sorry, Kylie, you've just come out like an entitled brat. Oh no, I called her a brat. That's what she's come out with as.
It doesn't seem like those are even her words, you know? I think her sister mentioned that too. Doesn't seem like the real Miranda is really sharing how she feels. It feels like, it seems like it's scripted.
Yeah. Has anyone else stepped forward that's in the community still?
Dancer's not a part of.
Like, she made a statement.
Yeah.
Has anyone else made a statement that's still involved?
I haven't seen any other than actual 7M posted on their Instagram, their statement as well. And then I've seen other dancers make like remarks too, or like hints of their opinion on everything that's going on. And again, it's the same thing. It's just sad to see that the clear message isn't getting to them. And that was one of the goals of this. You know,
what's
that was
the message? What's the message? I haven't got a clear message from her. Hi, Bo.
One of the goals of this documentary is to eventually have these dancers be free. And as of right now, that's not the case. I feel like from their side of it, the only way to look like everything is okay is to downplay it, you know, either downplay it or play that victim card, you know, that people are saying that you have, right? It's like there's different ways to maneuver it. And I think they're trying all the ways they can,
right?
Even though maybe they're not realizing that it really is hurtful and disrespectful to so many people that are trying to help them.
It's hurtful and something I notice here. Kylie hates change, even with her self-maturing. But only her view is relevant. She doesn't want Miranda to change or mature. Correct. But she's saying it's hurtful, but isn't it also hurtful for Miranda? That she's saying, well, you're saying you've got a different experience to me. So therefore your experience can't be right. Isn't she doing exactly what she's accused Miranda of doing?
Like there's so many supporters and dancers and family members who are wanting what's best for them, and then you say something, you know, that's a little like snarky in a way. Why? Or like, you know what I mean? Like you're
snarky. That's a KJ term. Isn't that fascinating?
I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Hey, it's not making sense to me. I think I deserve a medal to sit through all of this, as we all do, because it seems to be a household of don't change or disrupt the status quo. But so we've got She could have left the church but didn't because she wanted to stay with her boyfriend. Then she gave up her job because she was told she could get work in the management company. She didn't have any control over what she did. She had to do what she was told. She wasn't getting what she wanted. What she hasn't answered is if she wasn't getting the work, how could she pay her way? It makes sense.
But at the same time, it does make sense to me because I know what's going on. I know from my experience, I know.
She's acting, highlight Jay. She's acting like she thinks Miranda made a career out of it and didn't cut it, and now is seeking revenge to make her seem heroic. And yes, I think so.
How it is, like how it works in there, you know. So I get that it is pretty scripted, and I get that that might not be her real wording, right? But she's playing the part, and she's following God, and she's seeking that. Like that's why we're all there, right? And so you do whatever it takes to continue, you know, doing what you can to get closer with God. Right. And unfortunately, sometimes that hurts, you know, the ones you're closest to.
She hasn't said anything about him calling himself the man of God. She hasn't said anything about the fact that he essayed her by hip thrusting.
Can't imagine her seeing this documentary.
Right.
And putting out a statement. Yeah. And making TikTok still.
Yeah.
There's no way that she has seen that. Like, do you feel like she's even seen the documentary?
Personally, I don't think any of them would watch the full thing. I think the way that they're thinking right now too is like they wouldn't even want to watch that. They know.
Best comment yet. This girl is out of dance form. Notice I didn't say shape. Dancers come in shapes and sizes. Ballet dancers are come in shapes and sizes. Would be yes, those are Katie's words, but she said it seems scripted, but she's not even sure of it. In fact, a bit like Aubrey when he was on News 3 in Today's Show, he was all over the place. This is all over the place because the story, I can't get a straight story.
Oh, what lane they're in?
Oh, I want to know how she paid for a dance school.
They're staying in that lane. Mm-hmm. Like that's very much how it seems. When you believe in something, why would you want to watch someone speaking like negative about it? You know, so I don't think that they've seen it. Maybe they've seen clips. I don't know.
I mean, you open up your phone, you scroll through TikTok, you're going to see clips.
Right.
I don't think they can avoid it, but just sitting down and not seeing this, not seeing the victims, not seeing what's actually happening or what has happened before this new dance cult that came in is absolutely mind-blowing.
Let's see what before this new dance cult. No, none of the mentioned cult in those interviews. Correct. This new dance cult. Now she's going to talk. I saw a clip about this before. She's going to talk about the ladies before, but they were part of the church. They were never part of 7M. See, this is all what strengthens the story. I'm wondering if she could afford that dance school. This is what is going to help 7M because in Katie's lawsuit, Shekinah Church hasn't sued her. 7M has because all the allegations relate to the stuff that's happened at the church.
Disgusting. Yep. Anyone with a human heart would be like, I need to go. This is awful.
Yeah. And like what you just said about like not seeing what was happening before, but in the documentary, you're able to see that there were other women and other people that were involved with this group, right? Prior to us even being there.
Yeah, but that's not 7M. That's the church. Get it through the heads. Oh, I'm getting so irritated. Her parents paid for dance training, and when she became of age to take what she learnt. Here is the problem. She doesn't cut in LA dance scene, says Jay.
I go to a restaurant. Girl, I'm Googling.
Right.
I'm looking at the menu. I have that shit memorized.
Yeah.
You don't think anybody looked up what this like church or Robert or anyone was about?
Maybe I guess it's just maybe they did, maybe they don't. But again, when you're like wanting something so bad, that whatever's on the menu doesn't matter.
Ooh.
You know, because it's like, no, you just want that. Same thing with like, we're talking about relationships and red flags. It's like, sometimes you get so excited about one thing and then that one thing is what will lead you down the rabbit hole and you don't even know it.
And I guess when they're so heavy on, this is great, everything's amazing, you're invited, like, it's like, well, shit. I guess I'd be like, this is great. Why am I gonna look for things? Usually, you look for things when
it's going
like
wrong.
you go through a guy's following when you know he's a hoe.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, you're not.
Look at the management percentage as a whole, not break up those percentages. 40% is a reasonable fee, and that's coming from the dancers and the management. So I said my management fees, I think it's 40%, 30 to 40%, 30% at least. So I don't blink an eye. I mean, I'd like to, I mean, none of their contracts. I'd love to see the dancers' contracts too.
I guess you're not really looking.
Right.
But it's just the accusations that were there beforehand are just so awful. And it just blows my mind that anybody would still be standing by this man's side or this organization's side.
Yeah.
With everything that
has been like I mean, all the public allegations of like the women that have came forward and women suing him in the past and like what they've been through and just
but the women that sued him in the past didn't succeed. Don't forget that. They didn't succeed. You can be sued a million times. Ask Katie Joy. It doesn't matter how many times you've sued. Just ask Katie Joy. Because if we go on based on let's just say Katie Joy's been sued more times than Robert Shin, by the way. Let's just put that out there. So if we're going by the number of times you sued, who's the worst person?
It's like, well, shit. I guess I'd be like, this is great. Why am I gonna?
Correct. It's called leading questions, isn't it? Which is not really what you're supposed to be doing. I wouldn't say she's much of a journalist. I thought it was supposed to be Kylie's story, not the interviewer's story.
Usually, you look for things when
it's going
like
wrong.
you go through a guy's following when you know he's a hoe.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those things where it's like, I guess you're not really looking.
Right.
But it's just the accusations that were there beforehand are just so awful. And it just blows my mind that anybody would still be standing by this man's side or this organization.
Because they're allegations and the last lot were thrown out. That's when the dancers used those women and made it into one, the church and 7 Emerald cult with only proof and allegations and lawsuit.
Side. Yeah. With everything that
has been like I mean, all the public allegations of like the women that have came forward and women suing him in the past and like what they've been through and just their situations. It's like once you see that and realize that, and then also once you meet those people, because to me that was a big thing. Like once I'm meeting like an ex-member and hearing in her voice what she went through and how she's moving now, that is like something I'll hold in my heart. Like you just hear in her voice like just the craziness of what she went through, but also on the plus side, seeing her now and seeing a lot of ex-members now just like back in their light doing what they were meant to do. My friends who have left,
freelance ballet dancers usually are responsible for ballet shoes and classes on their own. They're very expensive things to pay. Dance companies have different perks to traditional jobs.
On tours and doing the best things with dance and just seeing everybody shine again in their specific path and their specific light. Even the ex-members that I didn't know until after I left, like seeing them move right now is just, it's beautiful.
I just love that this documentary has really given everybody a podium and mic.
Yeah.
And the strength to come forward. One thing that did disturb me was the fact that several women had to come forward in order to put together this case.
Yeah.
If that doesn't say so much about our justice system.
Do we need to talk about the element of proof again?
Yep.
Awful.
Yep.
Where is that now?
That's something that I am really big on right now is like, I just came to the realization that like the legal system is not set up to make people feel perfectly comfortable coming forward too. And I went
Well, that's because there's lots of people that make fake allegations. They have to be able to prove it in court. Because I don't want the fiasco that's happening with Karen Reid, for example.
Do that myself. Like I was not super comfortable going to the police station and filing a report. Like, again, I say it in the documentary, like, and even it was crazy, like watching the other women in the documentary say the same thing I said. And I had no clue they mentioned those things in their interview, right? I'm just now seeing it live when I'm watching the documentary.
Mhm.
So like seeing how all our words were basically the same thing, just told by different people, and we had no clue about it is something that like blows my mind. But back to that, like going in and filing a report, right? You're not comfortable in there. The questions asked to me.
And don't forget, Katie Joyce shared a part section of the report, and it said the hip thruster, which I don't think, it doesn't actually meet the burden, doesn't even meet the definition, the criminal definition.
Make me feel like I did something wrong, or like I should have came forward sooner. And it's like, that already is wrong. That's already so wrong.
Yeah.
You know, like at least I'm coming forward, you know, at least I'm here now. Like that's how it should be looked at, and it's not. And then also getting justice is another thing it's so hard to do. It should be something that is easy to do. If you've done something wrong, you should be held accountable. Right. And that's plain and simple. That's how it should be. And instead, it's not. It's okay.
But she wants him. She's saying it's a cult because she didn't get her own way.
Hey, one wrong thing happened to you. Let's see if it happened to someone else. It's like, are we going to continue waiting around and letting these bad things happen to many other people, and then finally maybe one day we'll get justice for it, maybe not. It's like, it's a waiting game. It's uncomfortable, it's discouraging. And I think right now the best thing that I'm learning I can do too is just to keep spreading awareness that we need to use our voice. Like, obviously, we just mentioned the legal system is not set up in a way.
It's very interesting. It smells like Kate. Yeah, it's sort of it's really good that we've got people that work, that are dancers in the industry, who are saying, well, actually, it's a tough industry and you've got to work hard, and you've got, so essentially what everyone is saying, the dancers or the people that have, like Jay says her niece is a dancer, Mama Celeste says that she's a ballet dancer, Shorter Cook works in the industry, that people have to give up something. And for some people it's contacting with their family, because when it's holiday time, that's their busiest time. And that's part of it. It's the ballet angle. It's not a perfect comparison, but a nice comparison. Company versus freelance compare.
Yeah. For us to
but
get
you did say, Mama Celeste, that you had to give up your holidays because you were in the Nutcracker, which was all of November and December. And you have said that it's a tough industry.
Just as fast, right? Or
and
maybe
don't forget, her complaint was that Robert Shin was telling her what to do and who she had to dance with and what music she had to do with. That was her complaint about 7M. That was her complaint about 7M. She had to do what she was told.
At all, I don't know yet.
Right.
Okay. But what I do know is that I need to continue using my voice and spreading awareness that it shouldn't be this way, and that all of the women came forward are valid and their truth speaks wonders, you know. And one day, you know, we will get, one day we hopefully, will get our justice for this. It's a crazy thing, because like, it's so sad that there had to be so many women going forward, but now it also feels like, okay, we have each other's hands in this. We all came forward on our own, but now we're together.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're not gonna sit down and take the seat on it.
She seems to be jaded that she wasn't as good as what 7M. Yeah, that's right. That's what it seems to be. But as I said, that, and her biggest complaints was the church element, which, as I keep saying, could be cult. It is cult-like.
As if maybe if there was only one of us, I can see how one person would just give up.
because they're interrogating you. You just
Yeah.
went through something traumatic, and now you need to reopen that book
Right.
and hash it out with a stranger. All these women who are coming forward are brave enough to share their story.
Yeah.
It's like womanhood at its best.
Yeah.
You have each other. You
Yeah.
have each other for support. You have each other through this. It's such a traumatic, awful thing, but it is such a beautiful thing that
Right.
the strength and like the beauty of everybody in this documentary, it was very compelling.
Yeah.
And I just
Bo says she started as having big fishing in the pond issues back home. She was the best, a big deal, and then moved to Big C. She wasn't as gifted as she thought and wouldn't put in the work because I'm special. Mama Celeste says, I bet my Russian teacher would make this chick cry. And Charlotte says to Jay, KJ made a promise to them, and by hell or high water, KJ wants to make sure she's the savior here. So everyone better follow KJ's script. Well, that's why she said in one of the things, don't listen to this person because they don't know what they're talking about.
I want to thank you for being so strong.
Thank you.
And
there's so much that was not covered here. I want to know about the percentages. I want to know how she was able to start a dance studio if allegedly they had no money. If she wasn't getting work, how was she able to contribute to the house? All these questions matter because who was paying her bills? If
your voice,
documentary mashing together a church and the 7M, it needs to be different stories. But if they separate, the whole narrative falls apart even more. Correct.
Staying positive, like you're absolutely, you're an amazing person.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing girl.
I really feel like I'm finding where I should be using my voice more too. Again, it's like it's sad that I had to go through that, but also like I'm getting things out of it. Like I'm gonna use my voice more.
She's getting things out of it.
I'm gonna stand up for women and what they go through more too, and hopefully even stand up for people who don't feel like they have a voice, right? Maybe I can help be that outlet for people or inspire people to get up and say something when they may feel like they shouldn't, And so, bigger picture here, I really do hope that this will inspire other women to stand up for themselves as well. There is a petition that's been going around on Instagram, and a lot of public has been signing it to try to get this investigation like reopened and ongoing, because it does seem like there's been like a halt, and it's just like, okay, we have all these women.
There are 10 under 10 people in 7M church. 4 of them are the shins and the other 6 are dancers. It seems a lot of effort for that amount of people. Bo, I agree with that, and it happens, and it's a shock. That's the impression, yeah.
Forward, what's next? What is are people being held accountable? ... You know what I mean? Like there's nothing to say that has happened next, because
I mean, if they lose that lawsuit let's just say they lose the lawsuit in California, and all of those allegations that they've made about him all fail, do you really think that the law enforcement's going to charge him if they can't even meet the civil burden, which is lower? You think about it.
There hasn't been anything. It's just like, okay, we all came forward. We were told we needed 1 more woman. Okay, 1 more woman goes in.
How are they finding all these 1 women? How come suddenly all these women suddenly appear? I'm just really cynical. I'm sorry. I've got to take my lawyer hat off. I've become very cynical. I become very cynical.
So there is that petition that, people are signing in hopes to get this moving faster and moving forward at all, right? So I can, send you the link.
Yeah, send us the link. We'll put it in the show notes.
I'm sure you've seen it going around. It's out there, but yeah, I am thankful that, so many people are trying to really be as supportive as they can in many different ways, other than,
because it's just really, we're told we've got to get 1 person to 1 more person, and they go, oh, we've got another person.
And just like,
which would seem to me that you then argue that the women are being coerced to report.
Being us for there on Instagram and the DMs and all that, it's amazing, but this is also something that hopefully could play a big role.
what would be the best piece of advice that you can give to somebody that wants to get out of something? Obviously, not everybody, your average person, is stuck in a cult.
Right.
But a bad relationship, a bad career, what would be something that you can give to them to motivate them?
Look further ahead, look into where you see yourself in the future, and then kind of align it from there. Like,
essentially, she didn't fit. She didn't like being told what to do. Let's just face it. I mean, that's the truth of the matter.
Do you see yourself being with that person 10 years from now? Do you see yourself being with that church 10 years from now? And then from there, kind of assess it like that. Like, what would be the next steps that you're hoping to reach your goals for within those 10 years? And is who you're with or the group that you're with going to help you get there? Because sometimes it's like, okay, I have a goal of where I want to go, but you're not checking the people around.
Also, they want names of the 20 anonymous people who are on the lawsuit as those attached to the suit. They don't know who they are. They could be anyone. So there's allegedly 20 people. Has it ever had 20 people in the place? That would be the other point, because I keep getting told there's not many people
around you. Are the people around you going to help you get there too? Because it's not just me, right? And I mean, it's me and my goal, right? But I'm very well aware that who I surround myself with and my circle is going to be a big part of how fast I get there, when I get there, how I look when I get there. No, I'm just kidding. But, so I would say, like, again, check where you're going. Where do you want to be 10 years from now? Are those people around you going to help you get there? Yes or no? And then also, how do you feel about that situation?
determined, and they don't have the legal significance to charge anyone. And the toilet has already said, and they've already said they have no case within the law to a conviction. Yeah. Well, yes, they've been told that. I have to check the numbers on that. Don't take my word on that number. I'll have to look it up myself as well. I'll have to go back to Katie Joy's lawsuits on Scribe, James.
What are your feelings about those people going there with you? Do you want them there with you in those 10 years? Or are you kind of like, oh, maybe this is a different me right now, but I want to be someone different in a few years from now? It's like, okay, cool. Well, then that all just needs to be reevaluated moving forward. And I think that's something that I learned I need to consistently do, is like always check myself. Am I surrounding myself with the right people? Do I see and imagine myself being where I need to be in 5, 10 years, 2 months from now? And then just keep checking in on yourself, because no one else is going to do that for you.
Mhm.
You got to do that for yourself. And another thing I would say is be vocal. Be vocal about everything, where you want to go, who you want to go with, what you like, what you don't like, what you value, what you don't value, whatever. Just be very vocal about your morals, your beliefs, and your values. Because as long as you're sharing that too with your circle, the right ones are going to stick around. They're going to believe in that too.
Mhm.
The wrong ones, they'll fall off. For me, it's not easy always speaking about what I went through, but I do it because I know that it could possibly help someone else. And that's why I continue to speak on.
So what I've learned is that LA is a very hard place to dance. That's what I've learned.
Topic. I want other people to get up out of their seat and raise their voice for what's right for them, and continue to look towards their goals in their future without looking back, no matter what past they may have had. Like, yes, it's attached to you, but you don't have to let it drive you where you're going next. It's like, yeah, it's in the back seat, but you're going this way. And so use your voice, continue moving forward, and stay true to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so well said. Advice.
What I say? No, I'm just kidding.
Lady, understand that KJ is using her in her story to get out of her lawsuit, yet she wants to get the 7M church taken down based off a 20-year-old lawsuit. Well, yes, and remember, it's not 7M. It's the Shekinah is the church. 7M is the management company. And everything that Kylie said in this interview mainly related to the church, except one small little part.
I know, isn't that like you black out sometimes? You're just like, wait, what was that?
Did I say something good?
Kylie, thank you so much for being here, sharing your story, spending time with us. I know I was inspired and I was moved by you.
Yay.
The documentary here.
This woman's got 650 subscribers. It has had 423 views. So there you go. So anyway, all right. I need to head off to bed. I mean, technically I can stay up because I don't have to be anywhere tomorrow. But I wanted to share something that today that happened. Where is it all? So is it here? Let me find it. I don't know how any of it works. Oh, I know it's in my Google Drive. Let me go to my Google Drive. I think it's my Google Drive. Oh. Well, yes, it was word salad. Where did I do it? Where did I put it? Oh, here we go. I got sent, and I received an email today. In fact, I received several emails today, and they were pretty freaky. All right. You know where we're going with this, don't you? Unfortunately, probably. Maybe. I've told the creator that they can share. Oh, because this is not pretty. All right. I got an email that had the title of KJ. Hey, Joe, can you help me? I've been sending threats to myself. It's not Katie, it's me. I just wanted her to stop harassing Miranda. I feel so bad for her. I apologize for making you think differently. I don't know what to do legally now. Katie says the FBI is involved. What would you suggest? Now, I didn't respond, and I thought, oh, this is a bit weird. Because I thought, well, I haven't spoken to the creator about this. I don't know anything about this. So I tagged the creator in Twitter and I said, I've sent you a message. Can you please respond? Yes. Oh no, not the emails. And then I get this one. Joe, do me a favor and don't contact me on Twitter. Just talk to me on here. Thanks. So I still didn't respond. I said about trying to contact Nikki, and I said to her, I just said, look, I don't think for one moment that I think this is you, but I need you to know that I've received these. And then I've got this. They get worse. My followers are going to eat this up, LOL. Hopefully they will arrest her. Call me later. Now, I knew that it was fake at that point because, A, I don't have Nikki's address. I don't have Nikki's details. And secondly, there's no way that I'd be calling Canada from Australia. So I knew that it was fake. So then we've got this. Oh, yeah, there's still a few more. I sent this to the FBI. I sent Katie Paulson threatening emails of creating CP of a child and created and sent it using different sites in 2021, and I blamed the other person for it. I sent threats to myself using Katie's name to harass and stalk her. I apologize for everything I've done. She's asked me to hold myself accountable. She won't press chest. Now, if you look at the address up the top, Nikki's actually spelled differently. I have told NK that I was responsible and apologized to her too. Then, I think, is that you? Is that you? Oh, yeah. I shouldn't really show this because it does have personal information related to Katie doing it. So I might have to black out something. Just bear with me just for a moment. Well, technically, it shouldn't really matter. No, I don't want to show address. I don't want to. I want to delete that out. How can I edit that? Hang on. Oh. So yes, I got these emails. So as I said, I was pretty sick about them. I felt pretty ill over them. I have also made a statement to the Canada Police for Nikki, just so that you know, because I'm not having it. So it's been reported as all that's all I can do. That's all I can do for her. I don't know how I can get rid of this stuff. Actually, let's try this. I have to do it as a text box, I think. Let's try this text box. Try this. Yeah. I just want to decorate the text box. All right. See, I'm no good. Just know that if anything smart or clever happens, it's not me. So I cannot do any of this. Okay, I want to do that, and then I want to highlight. Oh, wait on, let's just crop that out. Oh, wrong way. Okay, so I want to do that. So anyway, yes. So it's here we go. I'm gonna have to just do this. This is the last one, and then I'm gonna go. Okay. I've just so that you know, I've just blacked out the address. In fact, I didn't know. I've never known the address of this person, but I do now, and I don't really care. So it says, I apologize to them. I made a false report about Katie Paulson of such and such and tried to have her swatted. I apologize to her. I'm really sorry. So that is what I received today. So as I said, I've done a report for Nikki because I didn't believe they were her, but there are other people getting emails on behalf of that are being told that it's her as well, but no one believes it. As I said, the fact that it said call me, and I'm going, I've never ever had a conversation with Nikki on the phone. I wouldn't know her number. So that sort of gave it away that was false. So anyway, I want to thank you all for joining me. Let's see what tomorrow has brought. I also have blocked and report. I actually blocked. She reported the email address, and I blocked it as well. KJ's going to be in a world of, well, yeah, I mean, again, it's all alleged, but hopefully, as I said, if by all making reports, hopefully we can get some action and they can find out who did it. But it is the same scammer email. Anyway, thank you all for joining me. I probably will be on sometime tomorrow. I've got another video to edit that I'll have. I've got a video to edit, and that will be really, really good. And I will see you again next time. Bye for now. Oops.